What's going on, Broncos Country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. And coming up on today's show, we are going to review the latest injury news, which has some good news and unfortunately some bad news. Plus, at the end of the show, Rusell Wilson responded to that bombshell article, in my opinion, written by a bunch of big J's from ESPN in Seattle with some Seahawks coaches and personnel chiming in. And Rusell Wilson, he had something to say back to it. But let's start things off with the injury report before Monday Night Football. So here's the good news. Jonas Griffith was a full participant at Thursday's practice. That's what you want to see. The bad news is Billy Turner, Randy Gregory, and KJ Hamler were limited, which bad is a bit of a strong word to lump all three of these guys into, right? I don't think Hamler was expected to be a full participant, but Gregory is a bit of a disappointment. Disappointing is a strong word, bit of a bummer. How about that here? But let's go one by one, starting with Jonas Griffith. Getting him back is a big win for the Broncos because the more I thought about it, at first I was like, you know what, the Broncos, they don't play super tough teams to start the season. They could live without Jonas Griffith. It's not like this player is Bobby Wagner, right? But the more I thought about it, Seattle's going to run the football a lot. If they're going to win on Monday night, I don't think it's going to be from a recipe of Geno Smith throwing the ball 45 times. No, it's going to be Rashad Penny taking off from where he left off last year, which was one of the best backs in football, believe it or not, over the last 5 weeks of the season, which spells a big day for the inside linebacker room. So getting Jonas Griffith back is a big win, it appears. Now, I don't want to jinx it just yet. Just because you are a full participant doesn't make you an absolute shoe-in, case closed to play. But today being Thursday, the game being on Monday, an extra day to recover from that dislocated elbow, I feel confident that Josie Jewell and Jonas Griffith will be starting. But if not, it'll be Alex Singleton. But let's send some get well wishes to all the guys on the injury report today by hitting that thumbs up icon. That way they know, hey, everyone in Broncos Country is rooting for them to get back on the field. Let's talk about Billy Turner now, because Calvin Anderson has been the starting right tackle throughout all of preseason and training camp and since the preseason finale. And so with that, Billy Turner, who's coming off a knee injury that we haven't seen much of him, makes me a bit weary. And that's why I don't believe Billy Turner will play in week 1. I don't think it's in the cards. I don't think the Broncos are going to be pushing for him to, make a quick entrance onto the field. So I don't think Billy Turner is a likely candidate to play week 1. Sorry for having Jonas Griffith right there. That's my bad. All right, pick a starting right tackle, though. Who do you guys think will be lining up opposite of Garrett Bowles week 1? Will it be Billy Turner? That looks a lot more like him. Or will it be Calvin Anderson? Put the jersey number for the player you think will end up being Rusell Wilson's starting right tackle. Personally, I think it's going to be Calvin Anderson, like I said. But with that, we switch sides and we go to the defensive side of the football. Randy Gregory. I think he'll end up playing limited snaps. I don't think he's going to be out of the game, but if he is playing, I don't think the Broncos are going to be reckless. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett is going to push it. In a game where, sure, it's the NFL, any given Sunday, if you're out there, you're playing. But also, you are playing one of the worst teams in football this season, in my opinion. There's no reason to push the envelope with Randy Gregory. So if Gregory is unable to go, we look at this depth chart here. Baron Browning looked the best of the rest during the preseason between Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, Aaron Patrick. So I'm expecting to see Chubb and Browning get a lot of snaps. But hey, maybe Gregory will be 100% and they're just taking it easy. Randy Gregory returned to practice a little bit ago, so this is not his first day back coming off that shoulder and knee surgery. All right, before we get to the rest of the injury report and my predictions, we are marching our happy tails to 9,200 subscribers, and we need 49 of you guys watching right now to help us reach that goal. I would love to get there before NFL Week 1, so if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Let's talk about number 1, KJ Hamler. I predict that he will play, but like Randy Gregory, he will be on a pitch count, right? We have talked about this in length. This is not your routine ACL recovery. No, his ACL is coming from his other knee. That's how big of an injury it was. So we saw him play in Week 3 against the Bills of the preseason. I am expecting them to be cautious like Randy Gregory. This is not the Super Bowl. This is Week 1. It's against the Seahawks. It's not Kansas City. You've got Sutton and Judy. I don't think you win or lose this game because of KJ Hamler's influence. I would much rather see Hamler play in December and January and maybe even February than pushing it here in September. Okay, now that we got through the injury news, let's get to the drama, right? Let's get to the juicy stuff of today's show. Because Rusell Wilson spoke to the media today, and he responded to ESPN's article, which was, and we'll talk about that in case you missed yesterday's show. If not, when you're done watching today's show, go watch yesterday's. It'll catch you up pretty well. But let's start things off kind of in the middle of our story here. Mike Gliss, who was at the Broncos media today, speaking with Rusell Wilson, and here's what he tweeted out. Rusell Wilson said he knew Seattle tried to trade him a couple times. Said he wouldn't say he was upset about it. Said it's professional sports. So a lot of people asked Rusell Wilson today from the media, did you read the article from ESPN yesterday? Right, from Brady Henderson. Do you have any thoughts, right? Was the things that were said in there true or untrue? And I thought Russ was very diplomatic about it. That's the word I'm going to go with. Here's the article I'm talking about, okay? Brady Henderson saying how Rusell Wilson and the Seahawks lost faith in one another. I thought it was a very insightful read. I enjoyed it a lot. But halfway through reading it, I started to read it through the lens of a Seahawks fan, right? Of a Seahawks reporter or a Seahawks coach, which tried to water down why they moved on from Rusell Wilson. To make their fans feel like, you know what, may not be a popular move right now, but it will be in a couple of seasons. Sometimes you got to stop, take a step back and go, hey, you really actually think trading the best quarterback in franchise history was a good idea? I don't agree. Now, Rusell Wilson was very complimentary and very, honestly, nice about what he had to say about his former team. One quote that really jumped out to me, Seattle will always mean the world to me. He said the nicest things about the Seahawks. He did not give them any sort of bulletin board material to go, you know what? Now that I'm not there, I would love to say that I hated the shitty weather in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm so happy to be out of that godforsaken part of the country. No, he did not go that route at all. He was very nice. Now, he did have some honesty to say as well. Allow me to share. I don't worry about all that stuff. People have opinions and thoughts and ideas. Everyone has the right to think what they want to think. I know how the whole thing went and how it transpired. Just the whole situation, but also at the same time, too, I know that every second of it I've enjoyed in terms of being there and trying to give it my all every day. Honestly, that was the most Rusell Wilson response, right? Russ is not going to go out there and be polarizing. He's not going to go up there and provide ammunition for the Seahawks to go, look at our old QB is saying. Let's make him pay for that. No, he was very kind about what he had to say about his time with the Seahawks, as he should be, right? He won a Super Bowl, we know this, but you get the gist here of did a lot of great things for the Seahawks, but clearly the two sides wanted to go in different directions, and the front office side, I think, actually started that process when they called the Cleveland Browns in 2018 and said, give us that number 1 overall pick, which they used on Baker Mayfield, and we'll give you Rusell Wilson. Russ's camp heard about that, didn't like it. And I wouldn't say that was necessarily the beginning of the end. It's kind of up to Russ and the Seahawks to decide when that point was. But that was a huge part of why Rusell Wilson felt maybe it's time for me to switch things up here in Seattle. Plus, they have not spent or invested anything in the offensive line, and I'm tired of being sacked. And before all of you Seahawks fans that came over to today's video to bash on Rusell Wilson, who need I remind you, by the way, you all said there's no way Rusell Wilson's getting traded. You guys remember that? I keep receipts. It's in the comments still. Every Seahawks fan said, stop talking about trading Russ. It's never going to happen. He loves it here. He said after the Lions win, this is not my last game in Seattle, and I want to play the rest of my career here. Clearly, the division was a lot more stronger than people thought, and it wasn't all on one side. All right, that's my TED Talk. Who you got, though? Monday Night Football. Broncos, Seahawks. This is a no-brainer, right? This is Seahawks. The better question is, by how much? I'll take Seattle like 31-10. I think they cover, but the under hits. I have zero faith in Geno Smith's offense putting up any points. Patrick, you want to give us producer Seeps here your scalding hot take on this absolute barn burner of a game?
I'll go. I mean, I got no faith in Geno.
Geno, I think, is the worst starting quarterback of all 32 teams.
I'll go 31-13.
31-13.
I don't think it's going to be.
A missed extra point. Okay, sauce.
Yeah,
right.
or 2 field goals.
Or 2 field goals. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. We'll see you all later with more Broncos content before NFL Week 1, baby.